It's Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals, and LeBron James has just tried to murder Draymond Green. LeBron is just 10 seconds from achieving his mission, bringing Cleveland their first championship in franchise history. This isn't how the story was supposed to end, though. Less than a week ago, the odds makers had the Cavs as 16-1 underdogs headed to Game 5 in Oakland, down 3-1. To understand how this came to be, we need to rewind the tape to the closing minutes of Game 4. Up to that point, teams were 33-0 in the finals when leading 3-1. Why was the winningest regular season team in NBA history about to snap that streak? They had the vaunted lineup of death and the first unanimous MVP in league history. The blame lies on the shoulders of one man, Draymond Green. He earned the title of the league's worst trash talker during Game 4 of the finals. The Warriors entered the game up 2-1 with the opportunity to all but clinch the series. The game started out back and forth. The Cavs had a small lead at halftime, and the Warriors were up by 2 going into the fourth. With 3 minutes left, though, the Warriors were right where they wanted to be, up by 10, all signs point to the game and the series being in the books. It's important to remember that LeBron was having a poor series up to this point, which did come as a surprise. The prior year, the Warriors had defeated the Cavs in a highly contested 6-game series, one that saw Kyrie Irving exit at the end of Game 1 with a left kneecap fracture and no Kevin Love. LeBron rose to the occasion to have what some consider the best playoff series of his career. This year, though, both Kyrie and Love were back, and there was real optimism out of Cleveland. LeBron just wasn't playing that well. By his standards, it was a slump. Then the most vocal trash talker in the league decided to snap him out of it.
He said Draymond Green called him the B word, and that's what got him going. And also, as many people have seen on the replays, Draymond tried to hit him in the private parts.
Okay guys, better address the elephant in the room here. LeBron stepped over Draymond. No way to sugarcoat that one. That's flat out disrespect. Dre isn't exactly acting like a Boy Scout though. Let's take a second look at what Dre did to provoke this response. First, he tries to hold down LeBron's arm, then parlays that into an acrobatic flop. He then tries his patented nut kick motion. Muscle memory, I suppose. Finally, he tries to grab Bron's leg to impede his movement. The step over was warranted.
Draymond Green is 1 flagrant foul and 2 technicals away from being suspended. And for James, it's his third. And let's see if they're going to give out any.
So Dre called LeBron a bitch on the cusp of being up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. I always thought this guy was known for his basketball IQ. Well, this didn't sit well with LeBron, the best player to lace up a pair in the last 20 years, possibly of all time. This was his moment to cement his legacy, and it was slipping through his fingers. And now the triple single is calling him a bitch? I don't think so. The numbers tell the story of Dre's words. LeBron's struggles immediately stopped. In Game 5, he had a vintage performance with 41 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. The final 3 games, his stats improved in every statistical category compared to the first 4. He essentially averaged a 36-point triple-double. The monkey was finally off of Bron's back. Cleveland had their championship. So Draymond cost his team a championship by calling LeBron a bitch. Not exactly the best look, but nothing cures a heartache like what happened next. The Warriors, as they have a tendency to do, fell forward. They landed the free agency prize of the summer, Kevin Durant. All the Warriors had to do was let Harrison Barnes walk in free agency. He ended up signing a contract with the Mavericks for nearly the same annual cost as Kevin Durant. I don't think such an elite team has ever added such an awesome talent at the expense of almost nothing. Then add in that he's a knockdown shooter with great size, length, and athleticism. The few holes the Warriors had, and there weren't many, were now plugged. They already had the Splash Brothers and were now adding the best shooting 7-footer in NBA history. It wasn't even fair, and by many accounts, KD's arrival turned the Warriors from merely a great team to the greatest of all time. This team had the makings of a flat-out dynasty. They were built to humiliate their opponents. It's not unreasonable to think that they could have rattled off not 1, not 2, not 3,
not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
On the court, everything went according to plan. They won 2 championships in 2 years and looked poised to own the league for the next 5 years. Heading into the 2018-2019 season, their third together, all eyes were on Golden State and Kevin Durant specifically. They were the defending two-time NBA champion and prohibitive favorite for a three-peat, but there was a potential complication. KD wasn't willing to commit long-term. He had just turned down a 4-year contract extension and would be a free agent at the conclusion of the season. It's important to remember that Durant's an enigmatic individual, and he did have some struggles off the floor from the start. He's famously sensitive and wasn't fond of being viewed as an outsider. His closest friend on the team was Draymond Green, so much so that Draymond is even said to have called KD from the parking lot following their loss in 2016, telling him that the Warriors needed him in order to win. The Warriors' prospects of keeping Kevin Durant went from cautiously optimistic to rather hopeless on November 12, 2018 against the Clippers. With 5 seconds left in a tied game, Dre decided to go into Kobe mode. And this wasn't exactly his night to be feeling so bold. He ended the game with 6 points, while Durant had a 33-point triple-double. He had two choices: give the ball to Durant, one of the best off-the-dribble shot creators in history, or try to go coast to coast. Well, he chose wrong. 5 seconds and a ball dribbled off his leg later, the game was headed to overtime. Durant wasn't happy about it and let his frustration be known. This is where it went from a basketball argument to a personal beef.
I mean, it really came out of nowhere. That play happened. I was going to grab a rebound. He came and grabbed it. I'm thinking he's going to just toss it to me and we're going to run up court and I'm going to shoot the shot. And I was just like, oh, Dre, like, let me see that. You know what I'm saying?
What are you doing?
Like, what you doing? Then he turned it over. I'm like, I'm just so confused at that point because he never, ever did nothing like that before. And he usually screaming when he come back to the bench, but what is he saying? Then he started going off, and I'm just like, maybe it's because I was like fucking pissed that he didn't give me the rock. Because I didn't say nothing, it was just in my body language. I was just clapping and just like, fuck. So, man, then he started coming off the top with all of that stuff, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, Draymond is actually my friend. Like, somebody I can call when I'm going through anything. Like, yo, bro,
great dude.
Come through. Like,
Great
damn,
dude.
bro, let's hang out tonight. Like, and for him to say that type of shit to me, it just threw me for a loop, and it was just really, I just started isolating myself after that.
Some of you guys will say KD was leaving regardless. The funny thing is, the 2019 playoffs offered up what Durant had always wanted: respect. In the first round versus the Clippers, Steph went down with injury and KD put the team on his back. He had 45 and 50-point performances to close out the Clippers in 6. As we all know, Durant would ultimately rupture his Achilles, and with it, so went the Warriors' title chances. In a perverse way, the deck was finally stacked the way he wanted it to be. He had the chance to come back as a rehabilitated savior rather than the ridiculed bandwagon ring chaser he was labeled in 2016. But the door was shut. The worst trash talker in history had already made that decision for him. I'm fully aware I may be coming across as a Draymond hater here, and I want to be clear, I think Draymond is a special talent. When he's on, his heart and grit complete the Golden State puzzle. It doesn't change the fact that his words have done real harm though. 3 rings are nice, but it probably should have been 5 or 6. We so often hear the OG crowd talk about how trash talk is dead, how in this era, everyone is buddy-buddy and doesn't want to have their feelings hurt. Both Draymond examples are actually continuations of league legacy though, a legacy of fringe stars pissing off superstars to their own detriment. Jordan talked trash and got away with it because he was a better player. Same can be said for Larry Bird, Gary Payton, and Kobe Bryant. Moving forward, Draymond should probably heed that advice and talk down, not up. He got into it with possibly the 2 best players of the era, and in the end, his team paid the price.